Today's story is about a young man named Diego Fernández, vanished from the streets of Buenos Aires 41 years ago. He was 25, a lover of late-night football matches and small neighborhood cafes. On the evening of July 12, 1984, Diego left his apartment in San Telmo to meet an old friend for a casual game of football. He never came back. His mother, Teresa, knew something was wrong the moment the hours went by and Diego did not return. She searched hospitals. She called police stations. She knocked on the doors of his friends. Days became weeks. Witness reports were conflicting. Someone said they had seen a young man walking toward the rail yard. Another neighbor claimed to have heard raised voices near the riverfront. Police opened an inquiry, but Argentina was emerging from a brutal dictatorship, and the system was overwhelmed with cases of forced disappearances. Diego was not a political activist. He was a son, a friend, a team player. Yet his case drifted into the swell of unsolved files from that era. Flyers covered telephone poles. Tearful radio appeals echoed through late nights. Still, no trace. For 41 years, his name lived in memory and in old photographs. Hope dimmed, but never vanished completely, until a discovery this year shattered decades of silence.
Early this spring, a renovation crew began work on an abandoned townhouse in the Barracas neighborhood. The property had been empty for decades, windows boarded, garden overgrown. While repairing a collapsed basement wall, a worker struck something solid beneath the soil. They uncovered human bone fragments wrapped in disintegrated cloth. The crew stopped work and called the police. Forensic teams arrived, moving with careful, solemn precision. Over several days, they recovered nearly an entire skeleton, a rusted watch band, a faded soccer badge, and a battered leather wallet. Inside the wallet, the name on an Argentine identity card was barely readable: Diego Fernández. DNA tests confirmed the impossible. Teresa's son had been found. The city erupted. Reporters flooded the street. Neighbors exchanged stunned whispers. For the first time in 41 years, there was an answer, but the answer only deepened the mystery. Why had Diego's remains been hidden so close to where he lived? Who had access to that house in 1984? And how could such evidence remain undiscovered for 4 decades?
Investigators turned to the property's history. Records indicated the house once belonged to a man named Ricardo Salvatierra, a real estate investor with rumored ties to elements of the old regime. Salvatierra died in 1999. His past left more questions than answers. Neighbors remembered late-night guests and quiet activity during the early 80s, but names were hard to come by. A crucial clue arrived from Diego's last known communication. He told his mother he was meeting an old friend to play football. That friend's identity had remained a mystery for decades. Police tracked down a name that resurfaced in interviews and in Diego's address book: Martin Herrera, a childhood companion who had recently returned to Argentina after time abroad. Herrera admitted to meeting Diego that night, but claimed the two parted early. He said Diego left to meet a different acquaintance, a name he could not recall. Investigators found inconsistencies. A parking garage log placed Herrera's car near the Barracas house later that night, contradicting his timeline. Under pressure, Herrera requested legal counsel and declined to answer further questions. Was Martin protecting someone? Was he involved directly? Or was he a frightened witness who grew silent with time? The more detectives pursued, the foggier the path to the truth became. Several theories emerged as journalists, forensic specialists, and family members debated motive and means. One theory ties the case to the country's turbulent political past. Even after the dictatorship ended, clandestine networks of former officials and collaborators continued to operate. Some suspect Diego stumbled onto material, documents, weapons, or hidden items that made him a liability. Another plausible explanation points to organized crime. In the 1980s, the Barracas riverfront served as a corridor for smuggling and illicit trade. If Diego accidentally witnessed a shipment or a confrontation, he might have been silenced. The recovered personal items, the badge and the watch, suggest the motive was not robbery. Instead, whoever killed him wanted him to disappear. Forensic reports show blunt force trauma to the skull and signs of a violent struggle. Soil analysis suggests the burial was hurried, likely the same night he disappeared. Whoever acted had access to the house and assumed it would remain undisturbed. Over time, witnesses died, memories faded, and records were lost. That is why it has taken 41 years to uncover Diego's remains, and why finding the perpetrator remains so difficult. Yet the investigation continues, because bones, even after decades, speak. They offer evidence that can be re-examined, retested, and reinterpreted with modern methods.
For Teresa Fernandez, the discovery was both a release and a wound reopened. At her son's newly placed grave, she said quietly, "I found him, but I still don't have the truth." Her words echo the frustration of countless families who have waited years, even lifetimes, for answers. The case of Diego Fernández has reignited public interest. Independent journalists and grassroots organizations now comb archives, interview long-forgotten witnesses, and appeal to anyone who might hold a missing memory. A photograph, a name, a document. Even small details, a car plate number, a fleeting recollection of a conversation, could shift the investigation forward. If you have information, if you remember something about the Barracas house, or about the people who moved through that neighborhood in 1984, please contact local authorities or reach out to the investigative journalists covering this case. Your voice could tip the scales toward justice. If this story touched you, please share this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more carefully researched true stories. Every view keeps the memory of Diego alive and brings us one step closer to the truth his family deserves.